Alright, we're back. CoolIo taking on Thank You Very Much, or thank you for the thanks for the MMR. Sorry, it's tyvm that's screwing me up. And speaking of things that are screwed up, this looks real weird to me.
What?
I don't know,
The game?
something's all messed up on my
Rhapsody.
replay. I don't know what it is, but it's strange. I'm seeing the pics, but like, alright, it's fine. Whatever. As you can see, this is a remade game, so they're going to be drafting their lineups real fast. We can get straight into it. None of those bans mean anything. Legion's like going to pick up Tempest, Madman, Glacius, Kraken, and Tremble. So CoolIo looking to try out the recently reintroduced Tremble, as well as the Tempest Kraken combination. Hellborn going to go with Ophelia, Dr. Repulsor, Rhapsody, Deadwood, and Accursed. Another hero that we don't see very much. It's been picked up by Willowkeeper, I think, a couple of times, but I don't feel like he's got a place. I don't know. I'm not really sure if he's a core or if he's a support, but in this game he's going to be a farmer, so we'll see how he does. Thoughts?
Let's get it on.
Accursed?
Yeah, more specifically, sure.
I think he's gonna be like we're gonna see a lot more of him in the near future. Since that buff of him, I'm not sure if his Q got buffed as well, but I mean he doesn't have any cast time on his shield now, or it's pretty much instant. So he's going to be doing a lot of work actually in offensive tri-lanes and stuff like that. He's a lot of fun to run around with. We were facing him in the loser bracket versus RMR this cycle. Didn't work out, or yeah, it actually did work out for them. They won with that game versus us when they were playing Suicide Accursed.
Yeah.
So I think it works out. I think it's an interesting hero. We beat Sync with it as well in a scrim. Just, you know, crushed them 15 minutes more or less with an offensive tri-lane with Accursed. Just dove the tower level 1.
Right.
So it's interesting, but yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be very difficult because if the enemy team decides to, for example, have a bubbles or something in the safe lane, which you cannot gank or which you cannot dive, then what are you going to do as an Accursed? Because you can't roam, you don't have a stun. So you need to make sure that if you're manning up with this hero, your enemy or your carry or the opponent's carry, they can't switch the lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this side on the Legion team, I guess they could. I mean, you could certainly put Tremble mid or something like that and do something crazy. It's possible.
I don't think it's good in this game. It takes away the freeze, obviously, from Glacius and a Glacial Blast from Tempest, but that's not anything that's going to happen after like the 10-minute mark or something, because that's just something that happens in the early game. You're going to be way too busy with other things during the team fights, so no, I have no clue why they picked him up. Versus a Slither or something like that, I mean, he's so perfect.
Yeah,
because
great.
he removes all the buffs or debuffs, but in this particular game, I'm not too sure.
By the way, we should resync right now. So on the in-game timer, I'm at 20, 21, 22, 23.
Alright. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah. So they're going to be running a Suicide Accursed right here, so let's see if that goes particularly well for them. Glacius, like you said, not going to have a great time against him because the Fire Shield will just cancel the freeze. So you can run out of that pretty damn easily. And they're actually going to go up against each other as Accursed looking to put in some auto attack damage, and it'll be interesting to keep an eye on this bottom lane and see how this hero does. Middle lane it is Deadwood versus Kraken, so a couple of strength initiators going at it. Both of them with big old fat ultis and some pretty nice ability combinations. It's going to depend.
Look at the top lane, I don't know, that was very unnecessary by Okami, taking all that kind of pressure for, I don't know, if he got one last hit?
No, he's got 2 CS.
Okay, he got 2 CS, but he took a lot of pressure just for one last hit.
He's gonna miss another one right there, and again taking a bunch of damage. So
yeah, I mean he's up versus 2 ranged heroes. I mean he should just be fine with the experience and try to just sit around and idle. As long as he gets experience, he should be happy. Sure, you can use your stalk to get 1 or 2 last hits, but you should never run up and just out attack them.
Right. And he also has the triple archer wave here, which is gonna push into a tower. And it's gonna make it harder for him to CS as well because they keep doing a bunch of damage. Perhaps actually going to take a little bit as counter harass, but we'll just put a staccato out as a counter. And Madman wants to go for this, puts the barrel roll down. This actually might be a kill, but he can't stop the health pot. And now he's finding himself in a bad situation. It's going to be Bloodlust onto Okami, so that health pot from Rhapsody, not only saving her life, but getting him a counter kill. And that's going to be a nice start for the top lane.
That could have gone either way. I mean, that could have been a first blood for Madman just as well. That was just sloppy plays by Rhapsody in the start of it. I mean, going up trying to harass the Madman when there's an entire creep wave already attacking you is just unnecessary. But hey, it worked out in the end at least.
Especially a triple archer wave, that's a lot of damage to be taken.
Yeah.
Very.
I mean, he's out of regen now as well, so he should definitely go up and borrow Doctor's regeneration here. But as for now, he's not going to be getting those bites, or is he? Something that I really liked in this game as well is the fact that they pulled regen to Deadwood in the mid. Usually you don't pull any regen to the mid hero because he's going to be getting his bottle either way and going to be able to regen up through that. But in like a Deadwood, for example, is like he needs to snowball. He needs to snowball. He needs those good starts because if he doesn't, he's just gonna wear off. Oh,
yeah, top lane completely missed the Okami kill. They have a ward of Rev down. In fact, Rhapsody was carrying that for a while and clearly not looking to counter ward. Would much prefer to find that Madman and kill him if possible. Bottom lane, they're also going to go onto the Accursed. Has Foul Shield. That's going to prevent the freeze, but it's probably not going to prevent him from dying as they manage to pick off one kill in favor of CoolIo. So get themselves on the board. Not bad. Both Suicides having a bit of a tough time here in this game. And actually, middle lane, Rotten Grasp will hit Kraken, and that's going to prevent either team from, or either player from killing each other, actually, as Deadwood was diving a little bit there.
Yeah, but this Deadwood hero, as long as he doesn't get kills, he's not going to have too much of an impact later on into the game. But if he gets those early kills and starts steamrolling, getting to level 11 fast, for example, then he's just going to have a field day.
Right. And he is absolutely decimating this Kraken in the lane. He's got 356 GPM compared to just 230 for the Kraken. Obviously, the Ulk Bolt helpful for CS, but Kraken's got Splash, and I feel like he should be doing better in this lane than he currently is.
It's really hard to play versus Deadwood, though. I can tell you that. He's the hardest hitter in the game, and I would definitely favor Deadwood big time in the matchup. But yeah, maybe a few more last hits from Pledicur's side on the Kraken. But also something that I was thinking about. Accursed at the bottom. He went for Seer, the third passive spell.
That's interesting. I mean, you can deny yourself with the Q, so it seems like that would hold some value.
I don't know if there's a specific build for if you're Suicide, if you want to have 2 points into the shield, but from what I have understood, you always max your Q on this hero now.
I think it's okay to go for the counter on the shield, especially in this lane, because it's the Glacius, so it's going to reduce his cooldown, which is also really important, and it's going to do a bunch more damage, so he can't get harassed as effectively. The only reason I can see to take Seer is that it gives you movement speed. So against the Glacius, who's got relatively low base MS, then it's possible you can counter some of the harass he's going to put onto you if Tremble's just taking the CS. I don't necessarily have a problem with the 1-2-1 build. I think the only issue I have with it is you should have gotten a point in the Q before the point in Seer. Because having the deny before potentially could have gotten him to kill himself instead of giving up a kill to Marcus Moy on this Tremble. And you don't want to let Tremble get going.
It's only 30 damage though that the extra shield level absorbs, and that is literally nothing.
Well, middle lane Kraken gonna be in a lot of trouble. He's gonna get the charge away, and actually Deadwood's gonna be countered as the Wiz-Kraken goes right on his face, but they still will kill Platycris on that Kraken, as the Deadwood illusions do a lot of damage. Tremble also bringing his Boris in, by the way.
The Hellborn have overrun the Legion FOB.
Meanwhile, top lane, they do lose the tower, so the rotation from Madman, actually, into the middle lane allows the Hellborn team to take a free tower.
That's a big win for them. They used up 3 heroes for that mid kill and still ended up in a 1 versus 1 trade. And I even think that Kraken died first, so that would be all experience.
Yeah. Anyway, I think the Fire Shield, it's not too much more damage, but it's a 3-second shorter cooldown, and I think that's probably worth it.
Oh, okay.
And it goes all the way to only 9 seconds at level 4, so reducing the cooldown by 50% probably a good plan.
Yeah, that's actually good because Glacius Freeze is 10 seconds, I think.
Right.
Yeah, so okay, then I understand it a little bit more. If you're up versus a Glacius, I guess you can make an exception.
Yeah. I would imagine that's the case for most Suicide or most short lane babysit sports and stuff like that. They've got a harass tool that's around that amount of time. So I wonder if this is probably just the suicide build that you want to max the fire shield, and then in other builds you maybe don't so much.
Could
The
be.
Legion have overrun a Hellborn FOB.
Anyway, Legion gonna counter the bottom lane tower, so both teams losing a tower in their long lane, and both suicides here not having the greatest games, 180 GPM or so on either of them. And it's going to be a lot down to Eggy B, I think, on this Deadwood, because the short laners are at 400 plus GPM. The suicides are at 180. Neither jungler is farming all that well, 280 or so on each of them. But the big difference is that Eggy B is currently sitting at 400 GPM and Kraken sitting at 300. So early PK from Deadwood could do a lot against this Legion team, especially considering they're not all that tanky.
Nope, not at all. Ghost Marchers on Tremble. Is that what you usually go for? I'm not even, like,
so.
I just got
Oh, mid
confused
lane
for a
Kraken's
second.
gonna die. Got punched in the face by Deadwood into the Rotten Grasp, and more or less nothing you can do about that. That's a fair question. Tremble's not all that tanky, so I would imagine the Steam Boots and the additional movement speed. Actually, bottom lane, Accursed is going to eat the Tempest Hole. Tremble going to finally come in here and having the piercing things or whatever.
Not even gonna try.
Impalers, yeah. Gonna get the kill there. So Marcus Moy not bad. Picking up his second kill of the game and gonna vault himself into the top farmer in the game. Deadwood gonna miss the root, or the Rotten Grasp, onto Madman in the middle lane. So, yeah, the Ghost Marchers versus Steam Boots thing on Tremble, I would imagine, because I think you get phase from Terra Mounds, right?
Yeah, you do.
So, any additional move speed, I don't really see why you'd go for Ghost Marchers.
Oh, I'm gonna freaking check it up right away. I'm just gonna look at one of Certa's replays.
You probably don't have to go too far to find one of them.
Yeah, he goes for Steam Boots. He goes for Steam Boots. So yeah, I'm very surprised that he actually chooses to go for Ghost Marchers, especially when he's up versus a Doctor Repulsor and a Deadwood.
Mm-hmm. I mean, those are just, you're not going to catch those heroes anyway, so...
Yeah, and your Impale scale very well, or I mean, your first spell, the passive. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So... seems like you'd rather have that. Yeah, release the Kraken, going to be right on top of Deadwood along with the freeze, and no question, he's going to die. Grasp did hit Kraken, but not nearly enough damage to take him down, so nice 3-man gank right there will prevent the Deadwood from continuing to snowball. Still at 390 GPM, but Kraken not doing too bad himself. By the way, they did lose a tier 2 tower in the bottom lane as Tempest joins that push, or joined that push. That was a while ago.
Yeah, that's alright. There wasn't too much they could do.
Right.
They don't have any counter push whatsoever. They got the root, I guess, but that's like the only tool they have. So I think that's fine. I mean, it was gonna drop sooner or later, and it's not necessarily that they have any, or that help them getting closer to any items that were gonna help them snowball, like a pull key or something. So it doesn't matter too much.
By the way, in the 6, apparently a big fan of getting icons. It looks like he's going for one of those here as well. Obviously with the icon last game on the Oogie, despite that only being 15 minutes, he still managed to get it, and he's going with the glowstone right here. And again, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, they haven't made all that much action happen.
I think it's good though in this game because they have an accursed, and if they have an accursed, they need to, you know, go into it in the early game, and they're going to be looking to get some kills. And also, you need to be tanky enough to survive the Kraken pull key charge ultimate combination later on. So, and the Tremble ganks, obviously. So I think it's fine.
I feel like between Rhapsody and Ophelia, actually middle lane, there's going to be a punch onto Kraken. No way he's getting out of that one, as he got hit by the Grasp as well as a double damage Deadwood. I feel like with Rhapsody, Accursed, and Ophelia behind him, he should be tanky to survive pretty much, tanky enough to survive pretty much anything. And there just isn't all that much damage from the Hellborn team. I mean, Deadwood can do a fair bit, but Rhapsody and Ophelia are not going to provide a lot. Accursed is not going to provide a whole ton either, especially considering he's got Suicide Farm. So I would have much preferred either some sort of lockdown, because they have heavy mobility. Actually, Tremble and Doctor are going to go at it in the top lane. There's Newer's Blessing going to help lock him down a little bit. Madman coming in, try to do something about this, but Tremble's not going to survive. Madman quickly realizing he does not want to fight this anymore, and he's just going to get away. Anyway, I feel like they've got a good amount of lockdown. Well, Ophelia creeps, Rhapsody, Deadwood, and opposite charges is fine, so not necessarily needing the Hellflower or the Sheepstick, although those are both fine items in this situation. I would say Grimoire. I mean, really feel like they just need damage, and they're not going to have that much of it without...
I don't know if I should
damage
quote
on my
Flensmeister. He just says that Grave Locket is just, or I mean not the Grave Locket, Grimoire is no right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Middle lane, they're going to jump Deadwood once again. Interested in using 2 ultimates on that, but actually they're going to take some counters with the Minotaur Stomps, but there's the Tempest ultimate, going to lock down Ophelia and all her little minions, but they're not going to get any counters out of this as there's just too much health on the Hellborn side. Freeze goes through on the Doctor as he's going to get locked down for a little bit. Minotaur Stomp onto Kraken. Do they have anything else? Yeah, another Minotaur Stomp. There's all sorts of Minotaurs doing stunning here as Platycris will be able to get away. Barrel Roll does hit Rhapsody, but that should be the end of that. So neither side really has the damage or the health to continue fighting.
Hellborn team should have manned up a lot more.
probably
Every single
should
spell
have.
on Legion team was on cooldown, but I don't know. Doctor, he flew to the side instead of went for the Ophelia when he could have just flew, I mean, straight in. I mean, a curse was right behind him, so if they would have just communicated a little bit better, I feel like they should have gotten at least 2 kills out of that.
I
But,
felt like Doctor,
yeah.
for some reason, was playing extremely passively. And maybe because he doesn't have his icon yet, he's feeling like, I don't want to die, especially when I'm 100 gold off of my icon. But what were they going to do? No Kraken ultimate, no
Nothing.
Tempest ultimate. I mean, and you've got an Accursed and a Rhapsody behind you, so... Yeah, it feels like they were probably not going to kill that Doctor.
That was a bit weird. Talking about something else that's weird is that this Tremble has 400 GPM. I feel like he should be 500 plus at least at this point, because Tempest hasn't been taking up too much farm in the jungle, but they haven't been doing a good job at stacking. Ancients are dual stack now, and I think he was cleared on once, but just when it comes to the forest, I mean, they haven't been taking anything.
Yeah. Sorry, did you hear? I'm sure you heard that.
Yeah.
It's the 3rd caster on the series. Anyway, they're trying to take out Ophelia minions in the middle right here. Yeah, and they've also got 2 tower kills in this bottom lane, and Marcus Moy really hasn't been all that contested. It's not like Accursed was really putting up too much of a fight against him. He did take the 1 death, but... Yeah, I mean, he's got Thunderclaw. I don't know why he's not farming super well right now.
No.
Maybe it's the Ghost Marchers.
I'm not sure at all what the Legion's plan is right now. Or the Hellborn team. It feels like actually both teams are a little bit questionable about what their next move should be. No one is really focusing 100% on farming, nor anyone is ganking. So, I mean, Madman is up here trying to farm some from the hard camp in the forest, but I mean, that's not really, you know, it doesn't pay off that well.
Yeah. And by the way, Deadwood does have a portal key right now, but they're well aware of it on the Legion side because he's showing himself, so... Not going to catch any surprises right there. Looks like it's going to be a 5-man push in the middle lane, and Deadwood doing some clear cutting, looking for some charges, additional movement speed, and the Legion team will just give up this tower as they see no way to defend it. Kraken without a portal key means that their initiation is pretty damn lacking at this point.
Even if he had the portal key, I mean, I don't feel like they could do anything, because, I mean, what's gonna happen after Kraken jumps in and lands an ultimate? Like, absolutely
Tempest ult?
nothing. Yeah, the Tempest ult. Yeah, I guess, but I mean, they still have a lot to cancel him, and they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, that's just poor positioning from the Hellborn team if that's the case. But like, Madman, he can't run into that. Like, there's way too much AoE damage from Dance Floor and the Cursed Shield and, you know, Root and, yeah, everything. And same goes with the Tremble. Like, he can't do shit unless he actually gets a BKB, I feel.
Well, anyway, there's the initiation as they put the Rotten Grasp right there. We'll only hit the Kraken, but the Kraken ultimate hits nothing. Tempest Hole gonna lock down 4 heroes, but the Rhapsody ultimate is gonna stop all the damage. Kraken finally falls. Hellborn side is well alive as Rhapsody trades her ultimate for Tempest. Rhapsody's still gonna fall thanks to the barrel roll, as Glacius is gonna be able to freeze Doctor and prevent his jump, but the Rotten Grasp catches Okami, and that's gonna be a kill. Opposite charges finishes off the Tremble. And that's going to be 3 down for the Legion side, as opposed to just the 1 for the guys on tyvm. And they perhaps are looking to push a base right here, which is a little bit aggressive. Yeah, they're going to back off. I think they realize they can't do too much, but... I mean, they got a pretty much full duration Tempest Ult right off there, but unable to cancel the Rhapsody ultimate, and just not all that much follow-up damage anyway, so...
They don't have anything to follow up with. I mean,
Yeah.
it is the Kraken ultimate, but they have to use that for initiation purposes. So, like, there's not going to be anything left. Even if he's a 5-man hold, I mean, what's going to happen? A barrel roll from Madman and a Glacial.
Yeah, they have the Glacius ultimate. They've got the Tremble Thunderclaw, so I think there's potentially some decent damage output. The problem is they're going to have to catch a lot of people to do it. And
Yes.
is that realistically possible? I mean, we saw in that last fight, who do you not... Like, I think the only person that you don't have to catch is the Accursed, because everybody else can either stop the Tempest Hole or prevent the damage from going through. And that's your fundamental problem. You're going to need to basically catch... In a 5 versus 5 team fight, you have to catch the entire enemy team to get any significant amounts of damage out. Just that's not a plan that's going to work.
No, I feel like Tremble versus very questionable pick.
Oh, and middle lane, they're going to get Kraken once again as the Rotten Grasp. Pelt finishes him off. Actually, Dr. Repulsor picking off that kill, but his Icon's looking pretty good. He's got 8 charges. He's going to jump all the way forward onto the Glacius, freezes him, but Glacius could still be in some trouble as the Gift of the Goddess does continue that mana regen. We'll get ported back here by the... Nope, nothing's getting ported back. That is the Hellborn team. I was like, I thought I heard it, but it was Doctor. It's fine. Everything's fine. 218 GPM on Okami as he actually takes at the top tower, along with Marcus Point. And they will be pushing this top tier 2 as well. But Kongor is being attempted by the Hellborn team, and it looks like that should go through without a problem. There's a Legion Ward of Sight that presumably spotted this, but there's more or less nothing that the Legion team can do about it right now.
No, there's just no way they can take a fight. I mean, Tempest Ultimate is down on cooldown, and even if they had it, it's just no way they can contest an Ophelia with an Astra at this point, because they don't have the damage for it.
Yeah. Doctor gonna pick up a token right here. Doctor, obviously one of the best token carriers in the game, so it's gonna be a very nice and helpful item for him. They will also take some triple stacked Ancients right here, spreading the farm out a fair bit. Speaking of farm, looking at the overall gold distribution for either team, you see the Hellborn with a pretty decent advantage right here, about 5k up and 4k experience at just under 20 minutes into this game. Doctor and Tremble farming at similar rates, but Doctor's got some support behind him in the form of that Deadwood and Ophelia, whereas Tremble is more or less by himself. The problem being that Tremble doesn't really get going right now, especially considering the Hellborn are super grouped up. Like, he's great at picking off 1 or 2 heroes by themselves right now, but he can't take all 5 at once, and that's what the Hellborn are forcing him to do.
I'm surprised they haven't been counter pushing a lot more as well. I mean, they have had, they had a ward spotting out that the Hellborn team was doing Kongor, and after that, I mean, they saw that everyone was moving towards the bottom, and I mean, they have been taking their sweet time pushing this first tower as well, and now they're gonna continue farming their force and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I feel like they should already, have taken up, or the Legion team should already have counter pushed at least 1 or 2 towers, or forced the Hellborn team back.
I mean, they shouldn't have both of these tier 2s still alive. They got 1 tower as the Hellborn team were sort of moving around as 5, but that's not really enough. 1 tier 1 is not sufficient. I mean, Tremble's a great split pusher too. With all those mounds everywhere, you can move around like crazy.
Yeah, the moment they saw that he went for Kongor and they knew for a fact that they couldn't contest it, they should have just moved 5 people to the top lane and tried to get a tower, because Ophelia is not going to be able to port, obviously, because he's an Ophelia and got her creeps. So that would be a 5 versus 4 fight in that case, if the Hellborn team choose to defend the tower.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, CoolIo looked really, really good in Game 1, and they've had some issues in this game. It's not like they're just playing completely horribly, but it's strange to see the 15-minute victory of Game 1, and then not only they're down right here, but they don't look like they have much of a plan. They don't seem to be doing, pushing at the right times and getting picks at the right times. Tremble's increasing his GPM, but he's not even keeping up with the Doctor. And with a Thunderclaw, I feel like he should be out farming the Doctor pretty easily. Especially because Doctor went Icon.
At the same time, though, I mean, they're not necessarily taking off this Hellborn team. I feel like with map control, I feel like they should have a lot better map control than they actually do. And I feel like they should just try to group up a lot more and just, focus down the towers. I mean, they were pushed 1 tower at bottom, but now...
now the top lane,
all the way to the top instead.
But it's going to be Dr. Repulsor getting caught. He also takes the Glacial Blast right here, but he's like, alright, you guys want to fight? Let's fight. Gets frozen here. Still has the token, meanwhile, as they manage to pick off Hugo Bick. Gift of the Goddess going to get activated, and he's going to be able to get out of there without having to use the token. This is now 5 heroes available for the Hellborn side in this top tier 2, and that'll be a pretty easy tower kill
The Hellborn have
as,
overrun a Legion
between
FOB.
Rhapsody and the Astrolabe and the Gift of the Goddess. Doctor actually gets pretty much all his health back.
Yeah, that's insane heal.
Oh
boy, I mean, yeah, the Legion team was like, yeah, okay, we might not have to kill him. I mean, he's low health. I mean, they can't push anyway, so it's gonna run out. But hey, 2 seconds later, he's full health at least. Or again, and they're like, oh boy, we should have killed him.
Well, Tempest picking up a portal key right here. Kraken's got one too. Both their ultimates are available, so they're going to need a pretty huge series of events right here. Strike goes off on Tremble. They're trying to initiate right here. Kraken looking for the initiation. Glacial Downpour doing a lot of damage actually, but Archie Tiger going to be the first one to fall on the Tempest. He didn't even get an ultimate off. Rhapsody going to save this first right here actually. He doesn't have a token. Doctor in the background getting a bunch of damage on him. He is going to fall, but the token going to bring him right back up. And they should be just fine on the Hellborn side. Legion going to lose top racks right here, as the Tempest was the only one that died in that fight. Or no, Glacius died too. He came back in and died immediately, so fun times for him. But
The Legion barracks are liquidated.
it was a pretty even team fight, in fact. It was basically a 2 for 2, considering the token, but the Legion's still going to lose their top racks. They just have no capacity to do anything. Kraken missing a charge right there, and that could be a problem for him, as he has no way to get out of this. The damage and lockdown is just too powerful, and Platypus will fall. Tremble now trying to run away from Dr. Repulsor, but with the Gift of the Goddess active, it's difficult to outrun him. And Legion calling a CC vote right here, actually, as Kraken buys back, and they might not be conceding. They may be looking to re-engage. Glacius gets the freeze onto Doctor, and Kraken having to run away. As Doctor's just like, fine, Glacius, do you want to fight? Let's fight. Hugobic can take another death, and he's basically spent the entirety of the last 2 minutes dead.
More or less. I really like the Void Talisman pickup by Rasher as well on Rhapsody. That's very, very smart, and literally counters the entire Legion lineup.
But that's going to be game. So, you guys on CoolIo not feeling like they can counter the Hellborn's consistent aggression, and considering they took sub 25-minute racks, that's not all that ridiculous an idea, but
Laning phase,
Shoot,
I mean,
sorry.
obviously you are gonna have troubles.
it's possible you were muted for like half a second right there.
No problem.
Sorry, start at the beginning of that thing again.
Let's see, where was I?
I
no,
don't
what
know.
I was doing, yeah. No, just if you're that far behind in the laning phase, I mean, you're not gonna have an easy time, obviously. Or like your entire lineup is like physical damage in this point. Or in this case, Kraken, Madman, and Tremble, all teamed up with a Tempest. Like, yeah, just don't feel like they did very good.
I feel
together.
like,
but at the same time, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that if they could have pushed that game for another 20 minutes, it would have been really, really hard for thanks to the MMR to do much of anything, because Ophelia just doesn't scale all that well. She's not mobile, and then you're going up against the Kraken ulti, the Tempest ulti, as well as 2 carries in Tremble and Madman. But the Hellborn, like you said, just got off to 2. They had a solid laning phase, and they had such a snowball team. They just were just like, we're going to group up as 5. We've got a Rhapsody, we've got an Ophelia, we have an Accursed. You're never going to, and a Dr. Repulsor, you're never going to kill any of us. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. So, I mean,
I feel like it could have worked if they switched out either Tremble or Madman to a different type of hero, because I feel like Madman and Tremble literally fulfills the same purpose.
Sure.
As a melee late game carry,
Right.
who specializes in auto attacks. If they had a solid stun or some early magic damage burst or something, I feel like they would have been in such a better position.
Yeah. I mean, they just needed a way to stop, to start those fights. Because Kraken, once he got the portal key, was doing much better, but then it was still a situation where the Hellborn side was too far up because their lineup was very early mid-game oriented. And like you said, I mean, Madman and Tremble, great late game heroes. And if that game had gone for an hour, tyvm could have had some pretty serious issues winning it, but it didn't because they.
But at the same time, I mean, Rhapsody already countered both of them with one Void Talisman, one item
That's
for
true.
1.5k, and like, I mean, both of them are literally out of the game.
It's less than that now, isn't it? They changed it. I think it's cheaper. Yeah, I think
Maybe it does.
I think it's like it's the major totem for 540 and like a 700 gold recipe. I think it's like 12 something now.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
really good in that case.
It's nice. Yeah, that item needed to change. It was too expensive before for a support, who were the only ones that were getting it. Oh well, guys on CoolIo losing the game right here, which would not have seemed possible after Game 1, but tyvm coming out with a victory in Game 2. That means we're going to a Game 3, ladies and gentlemen, so stick around, we'll be right back with that.